What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. This is our NFL Week 12 betting preview. We're going to talk sides, totals, props, money line, underdog parlays, and as always, we'll build our Sunday six-pack of Against the Spread bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey. Stuck, what's going on?
Going on, brother? We're in the can't believe we're already to week 12. Next week's going to be crazy, Thanksgiving week, especially for podcasts. I know for you and your fantasy, me for NFL and college. But we're in the storm, and I already can't wait for postseason football. But I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm cherishing every one of these weeks. You got to remember, like when you get in the midst of the grind, you're like, "Oh, this is a lot." But then you think to like June and July when you're like dying for football. So it's on to week 12, and hopefully we can find some winners here. Was a little disappointed last week. We got Dortch, we both love
Oh,
Dortch.
yeah. Yeah.
He got in the end zone, and Warren got hurt,
Yep.
so he couldn't complete the parlay.
Kenny Gainwell had two. He went
Gainwell
more.
just took
Oh,
all his
man.
touchdowns and got all the looks because Warren came out with an ankle injury. So that was unfortunate, but it was decent NFL Sunday. It was entertaining, very entertaining day, which we
Yeah.
haven't had a lot of lately. Officials were really bad across the board from start to finish, but other than that, I thought it was an entertaining day. So looking forward to getting into week 12.
Yep. You're up 38-27. Been trying to catch you all year, but you've been hot. So I got some work to do. 2 points for our first two, a point for our third, point for a total point. If you sweep all those for those new listeners out there, let's start it off with the first pick of the week 12 Sunday six pack. I'm going with the New Orleans Saints -1.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. Kind of pissed at myself that I missed the Saints as an underdog, but I still like them. I think this should be close to 3. I mean, this Falcon team, when you take Drake London off of this offense, it gets bad in a hurry. And then you got Kirk Cousins in for Michael Penix. And I know, last year, Cousins, first half of the year, he was solid, but he hasn't been able to move around at all. So I think that's a big downgrade for this offense. And then you have the Saints coming off a bye. And I think Tyler Shuck gives them a little bit more at quarterback, a little bit more upside at quarterback than
Throws it downfield, actually.
than Rattler. So I mean, advanced metrics, Shuck isn't great. Like he's actually, I think, a little worse than Rattler in EPA per play, but he's improved each of his 3, main appearances. He came in relief a couple weeks ago, maybe like 3 weeks ago against Tampa Bay. And then first start, he was better against the Rams, threw for 7.3 yards an attempt, a touchdown, 62 completion percent, but just didn't get to throw a lot. And then last game against Carolina, he had a couple touchdowns, 282 yards, 10.4 an attempt. So overall, I mean, the EPA, because he's got some picks, got 2 picks, isn't great. But, you look at the non-turnover EPA, he's right around league average, 7.1 yards per attempt. So I think there is some upside here. And this Falcons defense has been trending down as well. I worry about their offensive line a little bit with Cousins there instead of Penix. Penix had his own flaws. He wasn't really thrown to the middle of the field, but now you take Drake London out, and this Falcons offense is probably just going to go in its shell and try to run the ball, 40 times if they can. But the Saints have been solid on defense. They're not the worst defense in the league. So
And they're good against the run, 7th in EPA, 11th in
yeah.
success rate against the run.
Yeah, so it's not as bad of a matchup as it kind of looked if Penix and London would have been healthy. Not that Penix was great this year, but yeah, I think the Saints defense is a little bit underrated. And we saw them play like that game against the Bucks. The Bucks did try to run all over them and succeeded a few weeks ago, but I generally like this Falcon team one-dimensional with the Saints allowing a 39.5% success rate, which is number 11 against the run. I think that this Falcons offense could be in trouble. I think this could be a game where the Falcons score, under 14 even. And I think the Saints can get to, 20 plus, 20, 23 in this matchup. So give me the Saints -1.5. I think this should be closer to a field goal.
Yeah, I played the Saints right early this week, +2.5, still play it now. Would play literally anything under 3. Like, let's talk first. I mean, Cousins is done.
Yeah.
You can
Can't
just
move.
watch him. I mean, He's 42nd out of 44 quarterbacks in EPA plus completion percentage over expectation, only ahead of McCarthy and Gabriel. He's one of only four in the negative in that stat, along with Cam Ward, Gabriel, and McCarthy. And you mentioned Drake London. Well, we already saw the Falcons' offense with Cousins and no London. It
Hmm.
was a start at home against the Dolphins, and they lost 34-10. It was
Embarrassing.
horrendous. I mean, here's the thing, with Drake London on the field, 5.63 yards per play. Without him, 4.43. And he hasn't been on the field. It's not like they were playing elite defenses, right? Like they were some of the Panthers game, the Dolphins. Almost a yard and a half difference. Here's a really important part. Run game with Drake London, 4.7 yards per carry. Without him, 3.5. It's much easier to defend this offense without London. You saw that with the Dolphins stack the box, take away Bijan. Because the rest of Mooney's been horrendous. Who are the other receivers out there?
David Sills, Cordero Hodge, and Casey Washington, who are all just like cardio king. Like they're all liable to just run like 30 routes and not get a target between them.
Yeah,
Or they put
so
Warner in there and it's the same thing.
yeah, so without Drake London, their EPA per play is essentially, and this is with or without Penix, is essentially equal to the Browns. Their EPA, the only team worse than the Falcons offense without London is the Titans. That's it. So, and also, I think the bye will help Shuck and, build timing with his receivers. He took over as starter. That can only help him. Fuaga might be back. Like the Saints are close to fully healthy. And Falcons still dealing with some injuries on the offensive line, potentially on defense. But this spot, like you have the Saints coming off of a bye, and then you have the Falcons who were lost in overtime overseas. Their defense is on the field, I don't know, 75, 80 plays. Last week, they lose again in overtime. Their defense is on the field the entire game again.
Bryce Young threw for 448 yards.
Yeah, Bryce Young threw for 500 yards against them. But their defense has been on the field back-to-back overtime losses. So number one, their defense could be completely gassed. New Orleans should be able to run a little bit here because everyone can run on the Falcons right now. That'll help Chuck. But the Falcons defense has to be gassed. And then just from uh, an emotional standpoint, like you lost London, you lost Penix, you just lost two straight in overtime, and your season's pretty much over at 3-7. Like e crazy flat spot where the Falcons just might not get off the plane.
You want to
So
hear a funny stat? Drake London is responsible for 37% of the Falcons receiving yardage. He missed a game like that. How do you miss a game? Like that is absurd. Like they're just nothing without this guy on the
yeah,
field.
I
It's
mean he almost
weird.
single-handedly beat the Patriots.
Oh yeah, 3 touchdowns. Yep. All right, where are you
Um,
going?
but yeah, I would agree. That was going to be my first one if you didn't pick it. So I was
Nice.
mad when you went first this week, and he was mad when you got the Saints. So for my first pick and the second overall, the Week 12 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys plus 3.5. Still some 3.5s out there against the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, look, first of all, this Eagles team, they are who they are at this point. Their offense, I don't think, is going to figure it out. I mean, out of the bye, 2 straight weeks, we've seen nothing. And for the whole season, they can't build margin on anyone. They have 8 wins. 7 of them have come by one possession. They're 7-1 in one possession games. I do think their defense is trending up. Get some guys back healthy. You add Phillips. Their defense is going to be a problem. Although Goff certainly helped them. Goff in weather with a glove is, essentially Kirk Cousins at this point. But I like the Eagles defense is trending up. I also think the Dallas defense is trending up. Now, I get it's the Raiders, but I think that they will be better against the run, right? Like with their trade deadline acquisitions. I mean, it makes sense. You add Williams in the middle of that defensive line. They're going to be better against the run. Now, the back end is still going to be leaky. This is still not going to be a great defense, but they're going to play a ton of zone. And that's what you want to do against Jalen Hurts and this lackluster Eagles passing attack. Hurts has been significantly worse against zone this year. And now Cam Jurgens banged up. You won't have Lane Johnson, which might prevent you from going with some of the jumbo packages that have unlocked some potential for this offense, and they've done some nice things with those looks. But Lane Johnson also is arguably the best right tackle in the NFL. The Cowboys can get pressure. I think they're going to be better against the run. They play zone on the back end. Now, the Eagles' defense is nasty, but this is the Cowboys' offense at home. I trust them to put up points. Uh, Look, I know that the Cowboys are on a short week, but this is the third game in 13 days for the Eagles after hard-fought wins against the Packers and Lions. Kind of washes that out. Cowboys had a bye before the Monday night game. It was a pretty easy win. Didn't have to exude much energy. So, yeah, I think the Cowboys can put up enough points here, keep this close. But probably what happens is the Eagles win by a field goal and run out the clock with like an 8-minute drive late. But yeah, I make this under 3, and uh, I'll take anything over 3, even if you have to minus 120 is fine. Uh, Dak first the division for whatever reason. This is an ATM, 31 and 13 against the spread, 70.5% covering by 7 points per game. But I actually think this is a decent matchup for the Cowboys defense in its current form, since they can stop the run much more effectively now. And I know the Eagles defense is nasty and only getting better, but I think with the weapons Dallas has and how well Dak is playing, I think they can put up enough points here. And it's just the Eagles offense that I I don't really trust to win by margin. So I'll take my chances with Dallas.
What real quick, what do you think about the under on this game? Because I'm kind of
Got
like I
crushed.
want. Oh, it got crushed. Yeah,
I
it's
mean, it
what's down
opened
like
50 and a
47,
half.
right?
It's down to
Yeah.
47 and a half, moved 3 points. Uh,
Still don't mind it that much, but it's risky indoors with the Cowboys. They are always so much better at home, but I feel like the Eagles might not hit an over for the rest of the year
I
the
mean, the
way they're
Eagles are a
playing.
dead not under team. Like,
Yeah. I might play that too. We'll see. I don't think I'm gonna go with it for the show, but probably will end up playing it either way because I don't yeah, I think the Eagles probably are just gonna do what they've been doing, try to run and against zone. It's not like they played a 24-20 game where they went both stopped scoring for like 20 minutes in
yeah,
week
somehow
two.
that game went
Yeah.
under. That was insane.
Yeah. All right. For
Do you
my
agree that at all?
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I have this. Let's see. That would have been my second. So if you, I took New Orleans first. If you didn't take Dallas second, that would have been my second, and then this would have been my third.
Gotcha.
But this is going to be my second, and that is for my second pick, and the third of the Week 12 Sunday six pack. I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals +3. Shop around for the best number. It's been kind of fluctuating between 2.5 and 3, but I think it will stay at 3 because Marvin Harrison's been ruled out. But still like this against the Jags at home. I think it's a letdown spot for the Jags. You know, you called it with them last week, you know, facing the Chargers going across the country to Jacksonville. Now Jacksonville's going on the road, and they just have not been as good on the road. I have these teams about, I have Jacksonville about a point, half point to a point better on a neutral field. Now, the Cardinals do have some injuries, so call it a point. So I just can't get to, 3 for the Jags on the road here. Jacoby Brissett has been great. Yes, Harrison's ruled out, but we're seeing Brissett just elevate, whoever it needs to be. Like first it was McBride with the touchdowns, and now last week we saw Michael Wilson go off for a buck 85, have a career day. So I'm not as concerned about Harrison being out as I would have been maybe with Kyler Murray. Greg Dortch is also playing well. They're getting him involved, and this Jaguar team, they just kind of took advantage of this flat Chargers offense last week. But if you look at like EPA per play, the Jaguars are one of the worst passing offenses. Trevor Lawrence has not been great. Brissett has been a lot better. And then, the Jags are getting something going with Tootin. Now he's a little banged up. So I think this Jags team is just they're going to try to run the ball and they'll have some success. Like this Cardinal defense is trending down. So if this bet loses, it's probably going to be on the Cardinals defense. But I just think my numbers have Brissett like about a point better than Kyler Murray now. And so I just can't get to this number on the road at +3 for the Cardinals. I mean, I'd make this about a pick 'em. Cardinals even a slight favorite depending on who plays. But yeah, give me the Cardinals +3 at home against the Jaguars.
Yeah, a lot of injury uncertainty on both sides. Like the Jags, are they going to get like last week they ended up being short-handed. They were much more short-handed than I thought. Like
Yeah.
Jordan Lewis didn't come back, Strange didn't come back, Harrison didn't play. So I think Trayvon Walker got banged up too. And
Yep,
then
that's
on the
big.
Yeah, the Cardinals side, you have their corners. Are they going to get who are their cornerback room? Are they going to get back? They have some other injuries. They're Jonah Williams, their right tackle. So like, this could swing. Like if one team gets all their guys back and the other doesn't, um, that could matter. But there's a lot of injury uncertainty here. But yeah, from a numbers perspective, I would agree with you. I actually like the Cardinals as a teaser piece this week. Maybe
Don't mind it. Yeah.
tease them with the let's see, who am I thinking of
Steelers.
teasing them with?
Steelers.
Steelers. Yeah,
Yeah.
Steelers would be a great teaser piece. But yeah, I mean, like the Jags. The only my fear is that I mean, Brissett set an NFL record in completions last week without
Yeah,
Harrison.
and you got the better quarterback at home as a dog. Like that's really it's simple as that for me. Like this
My
is
fear is that the Jags will be able to run it because the Cardinals' run defense hasn't been great, and like they really want to take away explosive passes. That doesn't really matter against the Jags, but if the Jags handicap is like, are they able to run the ball? And if they are, then that offense is going to have success, which they might be able to do here. But from a pure numbers perspective, yeah, I mean, I think this is an overreaction.
All right, Stuck, we're going to get to your second pick in a moment. But before we do, just want to remind everybody that it is that time of year. We have the best deal on Action Pro as part of our Black Friday presale. It's live right now. You can sign up now for $40 off an annual subscription, which is our biggest sale of the year. Action Pro users get real-time alerts as soon as experts like Sean Kerner, Nick Giffen, Stuckey, myself track picks in the app. Without Action Pro, you need to wait 30 minutes to get alerts and risk not getting the best of the number. You will also get real-time money percentages to see where the smart money is flowing and access to our NFL player prop projections powered by Sean Kerner. The best deal of the year runs through Sunday. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro to sign up now for $40 off an annual subscription. The rest of our Sunday six pack is coming up, but first I'll throw it to myself for a quick word from our sponsor. The Action Network podcast has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code Action Network when signing up and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours. All right, Stuck, where are we going with pick number 2?
All right, speaking of road fades, we are for my second pick in the fourth overall, the Week 12 Sunday six pack. I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders -3.5 against the Cleveland Browns. Laying 3.5 with this Raiders team with a total. What is this total down to 35.5 indoors? Insane.
Yeah.
Might sound crazy, but this is number one, a pure fade of Shedeur Sanders. I don't think he's ready to be an NFL quarterback right now. And from everything I've heard from people close to the team, that is the case. From everything I've seen, everything I saw last week, that was the case. I mean, he had a negative 35% completion percentage over expectation. I think he was 0 of 8 against the blitz with 100% pressure rate. You just blitz him. He holds onto the ball too long. He's not even athletic enough to make up for it, and he can't read defenses. He can't read blitzes. The Browns also have injuries at tackle. We don't know if they might have to have Leviston in there again. They might have two backup tackles. We'll see.
Yeah.
Both practices on limited capacity. Max Crosby might set an NFL record for sacks in a game. I just don't think Shedeur's ready at this moment. And additionally, the Browns defense isn't the same on the road. Talk about it every week. Are the Browns at home? Yes, you can bet them. Are they not? Yes, you can fade them. Over the past 3 seasons, Browns, most profitable home team in the NFL, 63.6% against the spread. On the road, the least profitable, 5-17 against the spread, 22.7%, failing to cover by almost a touchdown per game, the least profitable. The Browns, literally, that's their defense. Their defense is a juggernaut at home. But I can tell you, I'll tell you a quick story. So I had the Browns last week, plus 8.5. I'm up 6 in the fourth quarter, and I thought I was going to lose because I was like, Sanders is going to throw a pick 6. And the Ravens could score 3 touchdowns in like a minute here. He threw a pick on one of the worst throws I've ever seen. Hamilton dropped another pick six on like a rollout that he threw right to him. He took multiple sacks. I mean, he took one back inside the 5 yard line. Like, I think it's just going to be a disaster. Geno Smith, this Raiders offensive line has been a disaster. I get it. Like, it's horrendous. That worries me against the Cleveland defensive line, but the Cleveland defense isn't the same on the road. I just have a quarterback who is a professional starting caliber quarterback, and the other team does not. That's all this is. I don't think like the market, because Gabriel's been arguably like one of the three worst quarterbacks in the NFL. So you're like, how much can the drop off be? Well, there's a reason that Gabriel was in there and they weren't even looking at Shador yet. Maybe one day he can be a good quarterback. He's just not ready right now. Uh, like there's going to be short fields, turnovers, lots of sacks, fumbles, and I think the Raiders are going to take full advantage and get it done at home.
All right, I got a Shador Sanders stat for you. It's pretty hilarious. Okay, last game against the Ravens, he had 18 dropbacks for 20 net passing yards. So 18 for 20, right? And then in his previous like appearance where he got some dropbacks, that was that last preseason game where we were out in Chicago, I believe. And in that game,
he got sacked like 5 times in a quarter.
11 dropbacks, negative 27 net yards. So over his last two appearances where he got work, he's had, what's that, 31 dropbacks for negative 7 yards. Yo, I don't think anyone's been worse ever.
Was that the Rams game?
Yes.
The Rams had third. They didn't start. They started their entire fourth.
Dresser Wynn started at quarterback and played the entire game.
Yeah, they played like their entire practice squad that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, here's the other thing. Njoku also is banged up. Well, the Raiders, Patrick Graham's a smart defensive coordinator. We both like him. You can just blitz, and Crosby's could just have it down on his own. But the Raiders also do they're decent against the run. Like, that's what the Browns are going to try to do here. Raiders, I think, are, I don't know, like 14th, 15th. They're like league average against the run.
For 15th in EPA and 22nd in success rate.
Yeah, but if you adjust that for schedule, they're like I think 13th, 14th. Like, I think overall, like DVOA, they're above average maybe defensively.
I want to say they were like 13th.
Their schedule's been brutal with the offenses that they faced. But regardless, while you're looking that up, the Raiders always do a good job of, like, they're schematically they want to prevent explosive plays.
14th in DVOA overall, 15th against the pass, and 15th against the run. So they are, like a league average defense.
Yep. So they want to take away explosive plays, so how do you, like, the Browns, in order to score, are going to need Shador to drive the field without turning it over and taking negative plays. I don't think that they'll be able to do that. And again, the Browns defense isn't the same on the road. Give me the Raiders laying 3.5. It's disgusting, I know, but it's Shador fade. He might prove me wrong and figure it all out in a week, but I'll pay to find out.
Yeah, I might actually be on you with this one. I was debating going with this over, like, if you hadn't taken this, I might have gone with this over my third. So it was kind of an interesting draft. I think we both drafted right because we each had like the other picks. But for my third and the fifth overall pick of the Week 12 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers +7, +6.5. Don't matter for the contest. And this is just a big number here. I know the Rams have been amazing, but I trust the Bucs offense here to put up enough points to hang with them, to hang with the Rams. I mean, you look at this, even last week, I mean, they were up 32-31 against the Bills. Yeah, they gave up some plays late, unfortunately, and it ended up costing them. But overall, I don't think this Bucs defense is as bad as it showed last week against Josh Allen. Matthew Stafford can't do some of those things that Josh Allen can. They're playing a lot more, heavy personnel, so I don't think it'll be quite as explosive for the Rams. Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, they might be able to hurt. I don't know. Devontae just looks weird out there. Like, he looks like he's kind of almost like resting up for the playoffs. And then Nacua is only playing like 60-70% of snaps these days. It's been like 3-4 week trend with him. So I think the Bucs can hang in there. You mentioned last week you think the Rams defense a little overrated. I mean, the Seahawks turned it over 4 times Sam Darnold came into the game averaging, like 10 yards an attempt, just monstrous on the year. No touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And the Seahawks have a chance to win it at the end of the game with a field goal. I just don't think this Rams team against really good offenses is going to build margin. They'll still be in games. I have a Super Bowl ticket on them. I'm not knocking them, but 7 is a big number. I'd make this, kind of like high 4s, maybe 5 at most. So +7. Give me the Bucks all day. You might get some guys back.
You might get Irving and Godwin back.
Yeah, but Tucker is giving them like that. Gave him a second element in the run game.
And Baker was finally scrambling last week, which is
and that was key. 5 for 39 and a touchdown. Tucker is Tucky. It's Tucky Irving now. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Bucky or like, as long as it's not Rachaad White getting the like 20 carries. If he can get like 5 or 6 and just get the passing downs, I think this Bucks offense is great because Baker's moving around again. Those receivers won't always have as bad a day as they had. Like Ibuka's elite. Tez Johnson's progressed really well, and Shepard's solid in the slot, Otten's solid. So Bucks just solid offense. I think they're going to be able to hang here. I think they could pull off the upset, to be honest. But the Rams, they're not going to always pull away from teams unless you have a really bad defense. And this Bucks defense has been, last week notwithstanding, they're still number 7 in DVOA. They are 8th against the pass, 7th against the run. And that's important. You stop the Rams run game, what they're doing with Kyron and Corum, and it's going to be a lot of passes to tight ends. Now, the one thing that worries me, and the reason this number is, it's probably as high as it is, Stafford has killed the blitz. The Bucks do love
blitz.
Love to blitz. You gotta
hope Bowles doesn't blitz as much this week.
Yeah, but Bowles has been, he's been good. He's just kind of stayed out of the way. The offense, he always hires good offensive coordinators, and so I don't think he's going to have a complete meltdown here. The Bucks have been in every game. Even like I said, last week up 32-31 on the Bills, had a possession late where they could have even, backdoor coverage. So I trust them to at least do that, especially with the Rams playing more of these, tight ends. Like, yes, it's been working for them and they, get to keep Stafford upright a little bit more, but like in general, like you're not going to have as many explosive plays with tight ends. Like it's not like you have Atwell and, those guys back when they hooks, he's just throwing it down the field and getting these long touchdowns. And now Adams, he catches like 1 or 2 balls a game. So yeah, I think this Rams team been getting a little lucky. And last week they were really lucky to escape that game with a win, given, how like they just kind of, it seemed like they were supposed to be blowing the Seahawks out. And you look up and it's just a 2-point game and their Seahawks are lining up for a field goal. So yeah, I think this Rams team is going to be in a lot of these kind of close games against quality offenses. Like the Bucks here, +7. Again, I make this, closer to 4.5, 5.
Yeah, one of the good things that the Bucks do is they don't match these heavy personnel formations with base defense, and that's like been a key. Like there's a heavy personnel revolution going on. The Ravens started it a couple of weeks ago, but what the Rams are doing, I don't know if McVay stumbled into it by accident with like some of the wide receiver injuries, and then he was meaning to do it, but like their use of 13 personnel, especially in the red zone, has been it's the cheat code. You have Adams out there, and then depending on what the secondary receiver, like you could just throw to him or run it or throw it to the tight ends. They've been really good across the board, but they're using 13 personnel. I don't know, like 40-45% of the time.
Last few weeks, ever since that Jacksonville game.
Yeah, and the Seahawks are using a lot of heavy personnel. One of the best offenses in the NFL this year. Now, the Seahawks, they did a really good job against the Rams offense overall, and they don't match. Like, you have a lot of these teams that will match these heavy personnel with your base defense, but you really should be matching the down and distance, and whether it's a passing down or a running, right? Like, so then these teams are throwing and taking advantage of these mismatches against heavier personnel defenses, right? The Seahawks run they match at the lowest rate in the league. Bucks are like the third least match. They're at like 50%. So they do a good job in that aspect. I don't think they'll get completely roasted. A little in the weeds, but
no, I totally agree. I think it's silly how many teams still put linebackers on the field. Like, if you got to have those safeties, if anything, if you're going to do it, you can't just put like a linebacker on the field. And it's like the Rams drafted Ferguson for this. Like they had Parkinson, who they gave a big contract to already. They had Higbee, and then they had Allen, who's a very solid number 3, and they still drafted Ferguson. And like that gives them another guy to just run away from people. And most defenses haven't seemed to figure it out yet. So, but I think the Bucks, yeah, they're a well coached defense. So I trust that they'll be able to handle that personnel, and I trust they'll be able to score. Really, I think this Rams defense is running a little bit lucky this year. So give
Yeah,
me
I
Tampa.
like to like Tyke Smith's role on the field can help. He's very versatile. I like what I see. Dean might be out for the Bucks, but
Yeah.
Morrison I like. Um,
I mean, Dean is still big. I mean, it's you're going against Adams
yeah,
and Nakua, but the 1-3 personnel does kind of nuke them a bit because they, like I said, they haven't been on the field as much. So it's like it's the Rams kind of not that they don't remind me of the Eagles in the sense that like Stafford and they're quickened, but because Stafford doesn't really run and they a lot of heavy personnel, they're one of those teams that I could see just not being able to build margin down the stretch. Like they'll win a lot of games and they'll be in that mix for that 1 seed, but yeah, I could see them winning some close ones. All right, where
all
you
right, for
going for
my
your third?
third pick and the sixth and final overall, the Week 12 Sunday six pack, I'm going with I'll go the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 2.5 at the Chicago Bears. Speaking of heavy formations, the Bears really, really struggle defending heavy set, and that's what you're going to get a lot of against the Steelers. They're giving up 6.2 yards per play against 12 personnel, and that's like what the Steelers' offense is. They can run it, they can throw to their tight ends. And these are just like the AFC and NFC version of each other. These are like the two voodoo teams this year. I mean, the Bears are 5-0 in one possession games. They won them all in the final minute against the Raiders, Commanders, Vikings, Bengals, Giants. I mean, none of those teams are going to the playoffs. Then they won all 5 of those games by one possession in the final minute. Their other wins came against the Saints and the Cowboys. They have a -6 scoring margin with a 7-3 record. Team's been pretty lucky. Why? Well, extreme turnover luck. They're plus 16 turnover margin. That's usually where the Steelers are. Next best is plus 10. League high 15 picks. They fumbled 9 times, only lost 2. They had one last week inside the 10-yard line. Recovered 7 of their opponents' 10 fumbles. So, like they've been really lucky in close games. Now you got to give credit to Ben Johnson. I think he's been incredible. The run game is cooking. Caleb Williams is making a lot of plays downfield, creating explosives, but it's still not an overly efficient passing attack. And the defense is really bad. Like it's just benefited from turnovers and from facing one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. So I also with the Steelers, you have the stronger kicking leg with their kicker outdoors. Maybe that matters in what should be a close game. But if there's one team that can cause all the turnover regression that's due for the Bears, it's the Steelers. And I don't think is Rodgers going to play? I don't know. If Rodgers is going to play, I think that this game should be basically a pick. It's funny, Rodgers going into Chicago where he never loses. But if it's Mason Rudolph, I think he's fine enough. Both teams have some defensive injuries worth monitoring, but I'd shop around, try to look for a 3, even if like an expensive 3. But this game should come like most Bears games, right down to the wire. And I don't mind the matchup for the Steelers on either end. Now their run defense has been bad, so Bears should be able to run the ball here, which is a little bit worrisome. But the Steelers should be able to move the ball too. This Bears defense is horrendous. I mean, last week JJ McCarthy had one of the worst starts I've ever seen from a quarterback through 3 weeks. I mean, through 3 quarters. He was missing wide open guys. I mean, he has no touch. It was stunning. They also got 2 picks. They recovered a fumble inside their own 5. They went off their running backs. And the Vikings still had the lead with a minute to go.
Absurd. Just
So,
absurd.
give me the
Absurd.
points.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to I'll have more on this game, but I might not. So we'll talk about it in the next segment either way though. But yeah, I think I think the Bears are just getting so lucky. I mean, they're not good. And I don't think Ben Johnson really trusts Caleb. Like they have committed to the run game. It's been working. They played a easy schedule for that. But overall, I just really don't think that he trusts Caleb. And this defense, Steelers have been trending up schematically, and they can make Caleb look really bad in this spot. So that's kind of I was thinking about the under in this game. I might end up pivoting. But yeah, I don't think Ben trusts Caleb, and I don't either. And DJ Moore's trending down. Zacchaeus is trending down. Even Adunze's had some, up and down games. It's just the pass offense is very shaky. And so it's just going to come down to running. And I don't think Rudolph is going to factor in that much, even if he goes. So yeah, I don't mind this at all. Steelers, Tomlin is a dog too. Wins 60% of the time over his career. So can't
Yes,
knock this.
Tomlin's a dog. Got to mention that.
Yep. All right. that is going to do it for our week 12 Sunday six pack. Let's get a recap going. So, Stuck, you got Dak Prescott, you got some Geno Smith, and Mason Rudolph for Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, you actually, if Aaron Rodgers plays, you actually have a decent set of quarterbacks. I got
I mean, last week
Baker.
I had Gabriel turning into Sanders,
Oh, yeah.
uh, McCarthy,
Ooh.
and Trevor Lawrence. So it's better this week.
Trevor Lawrence, I mean, that Charger game, it's just terrible quarterback play on both sides. I don't even
The
know how
Chargers
to
don't have an
get.
offensive line. They cannot
Yeah.
block anybody.
Ugh. But Herbert just has one of those games every 8 weeks or so. He
Whenever he
just
plays
has
the
one of those.
Jags.
Yeah, right, exactly. But yeah, and then I got Baker, I got Brissett, and I got Shuck. So Shuck is our crown jewel of a bad quarterback. So, I mean, maybe it's Geno at this point. Who
It
knows?
might be Geno.
Yeah, probably Geno. All right, that's our week 12 Sunday six pack. If you want to tail some of these bets, look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description. And be sure to sign up for Action Pro for instant notifications when all of our bets are tracked. All right, Stuck. I went first on the six pack, so lead us off with the total.
Yeah, run came to an end last week. Was on a great run with totals, but man, talk about being dead wrong. I had the Bucks Bills under close well. That was within 10 minutes. I was like, this is a loser. So I'm gonna go with the Seahawks Titans under 40 and a half. The Titans offense is amongst the worst in the league. We know that. Now they're decimated at wide receiver. I don't know how they're going to move the ball here. On the other side, you have the Seahawks, outdoor game. They have some interior offensive line injuries, which could cause some issues because that's the strength of the Tennessee defense with Simmons back in there. Saw him wrecking havoc last week. That's the strength of Tennessee's defense. Sweat and Simmons. Interior pressure can cause Darnold issues. So yeah, I mainly don't know how the Titans are going to move the ball, and I think that the Titans' interior defense can do some things, and you might have Seattle come out a little flat here, just off that emotional game against the Rams. Now, out of conference game against the doormat outdoors in November on the road. I could see them being a little flat here as well. So maybe you get some suppressed scoring early. So yeah, let's go Tennessee, Seattle under 40 and a half.
Yeah, I thought about it, and you are getting some weather here, Seattle, but I Seattle has just been so it's so hard to kind of like they can just go off for 40 plus, especially against this defense.
I mean, this could be 40-0.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could. But yeah, Seahawks unders scare me a little bit at this point. But Darnold probably is due for some regression. Although you could say he had it last week, but I think try to get the 41 right. I don't know. You think it'll get back there? Maybe because 41 is a key number, but you can't really pay for totals though. So hopefully it gets back to 41. I think that would make me feel a little more comfortable. But I was initially going to go with the Steelers Bears under because I just think Caleb Williams is not going to play well. I don't think they trust him. I think there's going to be a lot of running on both sides. But you brought up a good point. Both of these defenses are bad against the run. So I'm actually going to pivot to the Eagles Cowboys under. I was initially going to go with that. I haven't played either total yet, but I'm hoping the Eagles Cowboys gets back to 48. It's 47 and a half right now. We'll go with that for the contest. But I think this Eagles team could end up being just a straight under team for the rest of the year. I mean, you look at how they're playing. I know that AJ Brown didn't get in the end zone last week, but they got him like 11 targets. So it's not as squeaky of a wheel this week. They're playing a zone heavy defense, which means, just not as much from Hurts. He's a little more hesitant against zone. His numbers are usually not as good. And he just plays more conservatively. That's why AJ Brown was kind of making a whole stink. And that's one of his main gripes. And there were reports that other Eagles players are kind of concerned about it too. But we know what the Eagles are going to do. They're not going to jeopardize the football. Hurts is not going to jeopardize the football for, just because people are yapping. So I think there's going to be long drives and not many turnovers necessarily. In this one, I do think the Cowboys are going to play better offense at home. But this Eagles defense is really good. Pointed out a couple of weeks ago, when they come off that bye with Vic Fangio defense tends to trend up, just because that scheme takes a while to learn. And they made some they made some additions to the back end. So I think this defense is going to be really good second half. We saw that against the Lions. We saw that against the Packers, two of the best offenses in the league. So I wouldn't be surprised if, even Dallas at home, struggles to get, much higher than 20, 23. And I don't think the Eagles are going to score as much on Dallas either. Remember, Dallas, they added Quinn Williams. Their defense has been trending up a little bit as the season has progressed. Still not great, but I think it's a little bit underrated. This total did get steamed, but again, I just think this Eagles team is going to play a lot of like 20 to 17 games. We saw it against the Chiefs. We saw it against the Packers and the Lions. And I mean, it almost made the Lions set the NFL record for downs. Like, what is the NFL record for turnover on downs? Do you know? Because didn't the Lions have like 5 in a row at one point? Like, this
didn't they go 0 for 5 on
fourth down?
Yeah,
I think it was 5 straight drives though, or something like 5 out of. It was something crazy in the middle of the game. It was just like downs. Let's see. It was
the Commanders went. The Lions in 2022 went 0 of 6, which is of course it was the Lions,
of course,
which is the most failed attempts in an NFL game since forever. Since
they almost said it. They almost said it this week last week because they went. So in the second quarter, the first drive of the second quarter, down. Second drive, downs. And then they scored a touchdown, end of half, and then opened the third quarter with downs. That's like nuts. That's just absolutely nuts. But yeah, that's what this Eagles defense is. So I think the Cowboys are a live dog because I don't think the Eagles offense is as good as people think it is. And I mean, they scored, 16 points against the Lions, or what was it? How much did they end up scoring last week? Yeah, 16 points against the Lions, who, and Eagles have 2 great receivers, and the Lions had like no cornerback. So that's and the Lions, play man coverage, which kind of plays into the Eagles' hands in the past game. They still scored 16 points. So yeah, I'm going to take this under 47 and a half in a division game, second division game too. Cowboys Eagles. All right, so that's Titans Seahawks under 40 and a half. Cowboys Eagles under 47 and a half. Now it's time for a money line underdog parlay. Where are you going?
Let's get a little crazy. Let's go with the Bengals. I know Chase is out. I know Hendrickson is out. The Bengals defense stinks. Their offensive line stinks. But maybe you just get a vintage Flacco game. You can throw in the Patriots some. New England's had the easiest schedule in the league. Maybe they're a little fat and happy here, and just they're due for every NFL team's. You're gonna have a couple games a year where you just don't show up, and this would like fit the bill. Like at the Bengals, who are awful in November, you're on cruise control right now. Everything is great. So no Milton Williams. Maybe the Bengals have found a run game of late. Jamar Chase obviously hurts because you want to attack the Patriots for the year, but look out for Mitchell Tinsley.
Oh, yeah.
All that guy does is circus catches. We'll have more on him later. But let's get a little crazy and go to the Bengals. Just gut feel here.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. There's a few money line dogs I think are live this week. I think the Bucks could win. I think the Steelers are obviously live. The Cowboys are in a great spot as well.
Panthers, I think, too. Just against that 49ers defense.
Yeah, I'd say that. I mean, they've been playing a lot better. Like you look up, what are they now? 6-5 or something?
One half game back the division.
6-5. Yeah. They've been solid. Like they're actually, no one ever challenges the Bucks. Like the Panthers might be in it to the end. Like imagine. Let's see. Yeah, end of week 18, Carolina goes to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay goes to Carolina in week 16. So that should be very interesting. But yeah. A lot of choices. I'm going to go a little bit off the board here. Kind of a gut feel too, but also just kind of watching this Packers offense, and something's a little off with the Packers to me. I can't put my finger on it.
It's very weird. Love is number 1 in EPA per dropback.
Right. Yeah.
And their offense looks off. I mean, now obviously miss Kraft, and especially against the blitz, that could be big here.
Yeah. The tight end absence is huge. The Vikings, that's how teams attack them. You attack them with tight ends. I think Ben Johnson earlier in the year actually said, because I think they play the Vikings in week 2, and like in week 1, no, they played them in week 1, yeah, and then they didn't get the tight ends involved. He was like lamenting it. That in this week they played like Komet and Loveland like a combined, like I mean they were almost always out there this week. So yeah, I think the The absence of Kraft is big. And Jacobs is banged up too. So, you might have to rely on Love a little bit more. He's taking some sacks lately. I don't know. He just looks a little bit uncomfortable in the pocket. And then they have no reliable kickers. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter who's kicking. McManus, Haversack. I mean, it's just missed extra points, missed field goals. So this Viking team, a couple, what was it, 3 weeks ago, they went to Detroit and won. And it just keeps happening where McCarthy just has these terrible games. But this team goes on the road. They're not that banged up anymore. They got their offensive guys. They got most of their offensive line, most of their defense healthy, and the Packers a little bit more banged up and just out of sorts. I mean, ever since that, those opening 2 weeks of the year were great for the Packers, and then it's just been disappointment. I mean, the Cleveland game, the Dallas tie. You come off, you get a win against the Bengals. They score one late, and you need 2 touchdowns to come back against Arizona. You're hanging around. Pittsburgh's hanging around until you go for a couple of touchdowns late. You lose to Carolina, then you lose to Philly with 7 points, and then you need to come back. The Giants were up 2019 with 5 minutes to go last week. The Giants with Jameis Winston making his first start of the year were up on the Packers by a point with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in New York. But still, this is the last.
Packers lost to the Panthers at home a couple weeks ago.
And then they scored 7 against the Eagles. So being at home, they've lost their last 2 at home, scored 20 combined points, and then they're down 2019 to the Giants with Jameis and no defense. So something's off with this Packers. Man, maybe they just prove me wrong and just erupt here. They did it against the Steelers late, but even that, everything is late for them. So maybe you think about some first half as well. Though McCarthy's been kind of a fourth quarter guy himself. But I just think the Vikings are live here in a division game. We've seen Flores' defense disrupt Love in the past too, which doesn't make me any more comfortable. Last year, there was that that game where the Vikings went up big early to the Pack, and then the Packers kind of came back late. But Love, I think it was 4 turnovers, and then the second meeting, the Packers only put up 271 total yards of offense in that game. So that was their lowest output of the entire season in that second divisional matchup against Minnesota last year. So I think there could be some more of this just flat Green Bay offense, especially if Jacobs is not 100%. I know they got Watson back. That does help. But their receivers, I mean, it's dropped like flies. I don't know who's healthy outside of, is Watson even healthy? He might pop up on your injury report. Who knows? But yeah, something's off with this Packers offense. So give me the Minnesota Vikings at plus 235. So we got a spicy plus 1273 money line parlay. If you parlay,
I would love
this
if it was Brosmer.
Oh my God. Yeah, right. Yep. I mean, I don't know. You think McCarthy's just this bad? I know. I mean, we still only got like 4 starts. There's got to be some.
It could get better, but as of right now, it's bad. He has no touch.
No.
On his short passes, he's inaccurate downfield. It's bad right now. Doesn't mean he can't be a good starter, but you just have to assume this is what it is until you see something different.
Yeah. I mean, it's, O'Connell tends to get the best of these guys. It hasn't worked out with him, but I'm the Panthers threw for, what did Bryce Young was 11 of 20 for 102 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick, and the Panthers won that game.
Yeah, they got to use it's got to be a Flores game.
Yep, and it could be. So yeah, like the Vikings. I think you just get the upside here because if McCarthy's bad, they could still get blown out. I mean, the Packers, like you said, underlying metrics are good, but they can't kick, and something's off with their offense, and their running backs banged up. So 1273. That's almost 13-1. If you parlay Bengals plus 310, Vikes plus 235. Now it's time for our Anytime Touchdown Parlay presented by DraftKings. All right, Stuck, like you said, almost should have got that parlay to hit last week with Dortch coming through, and it was just Steelers running back was what we should have gone with, but it happens. Where are you going this week?
Let's go. This is your suggestion. Let's go with Devon Vele for the Saints.
Love it.
I love the Saints this week. Falcons gas defense indoors. Chuck throwing more downfield. Vele basically getting every snap now.
Yep.
Without Shaheed there, they just cut Cooks, so he's going to be on the field a ton. And I think he'll get some looks. So I think there's value here with Vele.
Yeah, and they traded for him. Remember, they traded for him from Denver's, and then they traded Shaheed away. He got 100% of the snaps in the pass game. The first game Shaheed was out, and then they just released Brandon Cooks. So they clearly want to get Vele more involved. And I would, if not for this guy, I love both these guys. I bet both these guys already. It's already in the action app. I think these guys will end up closing shorter. So I would lock these in as soon as you hear this. But Mitchell Tinsley is who I'm going with at plus 450. And you mentioned it. This guy does nothing but make circus catches. I know that the Patriots like to play a lot of single high coverage. Tinsley this year, he's got a 20% target per route rate against single high safety, and he's got a touchdown on just 4 targets, 20 routes versus single high this year. So he's a guy that they will look to in these spots. And Chase was their number one receiver, obviously, against single high coverages, because of course you're going to go to Chase. So there's a lot of targets up for grabs here. Tinsley probably plays anywhere from 60 to 90% of the pass snaps, because Bengals tend to go with a lot of 1-1. They got Gesicki practicing, so maybe they'll activate him and go a little less 1-1. But either way, Tinsley is that clear number 3 receiver. He's a guy that can fill it on the outside, with Yosevach continuing to play in the slot. They don't usually play Charlie Jones a ton because he's so valuable in the return game. And then Burton, I don't know what's up with him. He's like got an illness or something. He was just he's been a scratch pretty much every game this year. So I think Tinsley could just get that full like Yosevach / T Higgins type of like 80-90% route rate. But either way, just a guy who catches touchdowns. Yeah, what do you have? A multi-touchdown game in the preseason against Washington, if I remember correctly. Yep. So he's go watch that if you don't know who he is, but he can ball. So Tinsley, Vele, plus 2650 at DraftKings. Anytime touchdowns for them both. Love this one. This is probably my favorite one that we've done all year. So let's get it home. That's our anytime touchdown parlay for week number 12, presented by DraftKings. Any games we didn't touch on?
Ravens, Jets. I think the line is, well, I mean, maybe I show a little tiny value in the Jets. They're going to start to rob, but
Ty God.
Ty God only does, he covers. He usually doesn't turn it over.
They got new receivers too.
Yeah, new receivers. Their defense has been still okay, like from a success rate standpoint, but yeah, obviously you don't have Williams and Gardner there. Ravens offense, like the red zone is a mess right now. Lamar's getting sacked on 20% of his red zone snaps. Like the highest over the past 10 years is 14%. Bryce Young rookie year. They can't run the ball in the red zone. They're trying to figure that out too. It's really stunting some of their scoring. And the offense, a lot of the blame goes to the offensive line. Defense trending up, we'll see on Marlon Humphrey. Uh, Lower scoring game though, like catching 13, especially goes to 14 lean Jets, but Ravens should get
Is
in there.
Hopkins washed? Like what's I feel like I would expect him to
Yeah,
be more
Bateman's worth
involved in the
watching
red zone.
too. Hopkins doesn't look great.
Do they is like Devontae just kind of like a problem in practice or in the locker room or something? Because I feel like he's got enough talent to get snaps over the
A lot
Wallace
of I think it's practice stuff.
okay. Yeah, so that's really what the problem is. They get nothing from number 3, 4, and 5 at receiver.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I haven't seen Bateman's status here this week yet, but
I mean, he hasn't given him much. I mean, last year was a lot better, but yeah.
But nothing strong there. What else? Giants, we'll see on Dart status. It's crazy how good Dart's with. His numbers are superior to like Jaden Daniels last year, his first 7 starts. If you look at rushing, passing, touchdowns, and he's playing with nobody.
He's so good. He got the coach fired because he takes the lead into the fourth quarter every week.
Yeah. And catching 10 at Detroit, it is a Detroit smash spot, like off a loss. I think they
run
covered
game
13 straights at home. Their run game should cook against the Giants. So I don't know.
Montgomery touchdown, or like parlay Montgomery Gibbs touchdown. That's another angle. Like that giant run D is going to get just eviscerated, I think.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that line's about right to me. We'll wait on Dart. And then Chiefs Colts. This is an interesting one. The last one we didn't talk about. Now with Gardner, they played a little bit more man, which is what you want to do against Mahomes, and much better against zone this year and throughout most of his career. You just don't want to play zone against Mahomes, especially if you can't get pressure at an elite level, and the Colts can't, and they won't have Buckner still here. So that's interesting to look. But like Spags, dialing up the blitz here. Jones over the past 2 weeks taking a ton of sacks, turning back into a pumpkin. But how much can Taylor carry the weight? It's the Chiefs aren't like the Falcons run D, but they're a little vulnerable. So Taylor's gonna have to do a lot of work here. Chiefs back against the wall. Like that line last week was insane. It got up to 4.5. We talked about it. Like I wanted to bet the
Yeah.
Chiefs, but the price was couldn't. Luckily, they lied. The price was outrageous, so I didn't have to play the Chiefs. Um, but if we get down to 3 here at home, like a back against the wall spot, I don't think there's that much of a premium. I'd like I make the line around 3. Um, so with Colts coming off of a bye, no Buckner matters. The Chiefs just don't have any balance right now, man. They need like some form of balance. Like the last week they handed the Hunt like 13 times for 40 yards and they throw it 45 times against the Broncos defense. Like that's not what you want to do.
Colts are the better team,
Mahomes
I
just
think.
hasn't been good throwing deep this year.
Yeah, I think the
Uh,
Colts are the better team. It's just like the Chiefs are in a spot, so it's a tough one for me because I feel like at 3.5, it's almost like Colts or nothing. At 3, it's like yeah, you can make a case for the Chiefs, but would we really make them 3 if they were anyone but the Chiefs? I mean, probably not. So it's kind of a tough one for me to say like the Chiefs are they're a luck rankings play for us, so that's they got that going in their favor, and I do think Daniel
that's got to be the
Jones.
first time ever. They're 0-5 in one possession games.
Yeah. But like Daniel Jones pump, I almost feel like this could be an under spot because you could get a great effort from Spags, Daniel Jones, and the coach just want to hand it off to Taylor and not let Mahomes, go up, even though they got soft. They don't want to let Mahomes just throw 50 times on that defense with
Anarumo
no
usually does
pass
a good
rush.
job with Mahomes.
Yeah, yeah. So I can see it. And the total has been steamed up. So it's like it went from like 47, 5. It went the opposite of the Eagles Cowboys. So
Yeah.
yeah, probably an under spot, but I can't really make a great case for the Chiefs, especially at over a field goal. At a field goal, okay, fine, but over a field goal, it's really tough.
Yeah, Chiefs probably win by a field goal. That's probably what happens here.
Yeah, like 23-20.
Yeah.
All right. And you said like the Panthers on Monday night, right? So you'll have
Yeah,
a write up on
I
that.
took the 7. I assume Young's going to be healthy. That's my only worry with his ankle. But you get an extra day here. Helps with the travel. And this 49ers defense, like I don't trust them to win by margin. Yeah, they did it last week because they got a ton of turnovers and they got a kick return and they were playing a just decimated Cardinals team. But everything went their way. They were outgained by 200 yards. They gave up 500
Yeah.
yards.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and like the state of the Panthers offense right now is and look, the 49ers lost more guys. Like Bethune, I don't even know who's playing middle linebacker now. So like the Panthers will be able to run it. There's no pressure. There's gonna be no pressure on Young. Uh, like this 49ers defense is horrendous. The Panthers defense will take away explosive plays, make the 49ers earn it. Now the 49ers offense I think is trending up, but
Yep.
there's no way, there's no reason why the Panthers can't keep up. And you can catch him 7, like you can get an easy back door will be open. Um, and the Panthers have showed like they're playing much better. They just went to Green Bay and won. They won't be intimidated here. Yeah, I think it's 7. It's Panthers or nothing.
No, yeah. The Panthers they're either going to be like one of the stories of the year or just kind of like just completely implode. I think they're going to hold on to it though, because like we do like Canales. If Young is playing well, that's really the difference maker. But their defense has been a lot better this year.
Yeah, Canals is a really smart in-game coach. Like he with the clock management, game management, all the little things he does really well, which some hidden edge there
some
gives
such
the
an
Panthers some hidden edge.
Yeah, but it's like they're such an enigma because like in one sense, if they have a lot, they have their blowout losses were the Patriots, the Bills, and the Jaguars, which is pretty solid. But then they lost 2 weeks ago at home to the Saints 17-7. In the game, they gain 175 total yards. So I don't know. It's hard. They're tough to figure out, but I think that they are clearly the right side, and it's probably an over game too because yeah, that
Yeah, I don't
Niner
mind
defense
either.
not
You got
good.
to check win though this time of year
True.
though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. In the Bay. All right. That's going to do it for our Week 12 Action Network podcast. Be sure to check out Playbook on Twitter. It can build you bets at the books of your choice. Stuck. Catch him on BBOC and the favorites. Catch me on the Fantasy Flex with Sean Kerner. Shout out to our sponsor, DraftKings, and Remember, if you want to tail some of the bets we discussed today, you can find the quick slip link in the video and podcast description, or visit actionnetwork.com/bet. Now, Stuck is on X at Stuckey2. I'm at Chris Raybon. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Until week 13, let's get this money.
Let go.